We are live.
Is that the image? You can't see the belts, huh? Hello?
Yes, but just the top of it.
Oh, there was something on the bottom of the screen. I couldn't see it. Okay, all right. Okay, so we're ready to go live?
We are live.
Oh, we're live. We're live. Okay. All right, well. Naman wahi ka joke wa. So what I don't see is nyari. Kasi dans rio yo jets ka hawe no di on budget screen is star no not tar roni. The tenu wada do gronga kari a guessing. Yeti sota asitanka garako dana yetin stazi hunzagi dana beguskat na ganungwe. The tenu wada do a grades ni ganyat de gerdo dana agwego of quadri no kosu. Sawa year dan tukundun hetset gawas. Det är nog då jättesåt gonhan när då när det hetsten och gonna go rio där de har kvar damdawe ajonki att igen har jättesåt gonhan när då när det hetsten aron hetsen gazat stassara när ganungwe damdawe aron hetsen asat ni got där igen ganyaga haget dana agwego on agora gayana dasra go nestana no orihuio kariwo kori shunsira dana gazat stassara. Okay, as you know that whenever we get together that we always have to begin first with the Hondagari Wadekwa. This is where we give thanks for the things in creation that have created us and the things that we need to continue to sustain us. So we always begin by giving our thanks to the great spiral of creation that when you look up into the nighttime sky, you're not looking into cold, dark, empty, lifeless space, the way that non-native science would lead you to believe. No, instead you are looking into the living, vibrant body of our great mother. And so we give thanks to her, to Sky Woman, as it is she who has given us spirit. From there, we give our thanks to the beating heart of our Mother Earth, to Grandma Moon. It is she who regulates the flow of the lifeblood in all things, and so we give thanks to her, to Grandma Moon, as it is she who has given us blood. From there, we give our thanks to our Mother Earth, regardless of what language you speak, what color you may be, where you have grown out from our Mother Earth, or what you imagine divides us. We all come from the same mother, all making us all one family, all sisters, brothers, all relations together, and so we give thanks to her, to our Mother Earth, as it is she who has given us body. From there, we give our thanks to all the women in all strains of life, the mothers in all strains of life. In this world, whether it is a baby wolf, a baby bear, a baby turtle, baby whatever, everything is shown how to be by its mother. So we give thanks for the mothers in this world, for in this world, they give us purpose and direction. From there, we give our thanks to all the medicines, all the waters and all the shapes and forms they come in. And this is to remind ourselves that we are 100% water. That is just constituted in different shapes and forms. And so that everything, the diversity of creation, that this is Sky Woman's dream. This is her medicine. Coming into the world, the diversity, giving life and creating beauty. This is the medicine of Sky Woman. So you are the medicine of Sky Woman. So you think of this, that we are medicine to our grandparents, to our loved ones, to our mothers, our fathers. They are medicines to us. So each of us walk in this world as a medicine. We carry medicine into the world. So you can be either a good medicine or you can be a bad medicine. So this is a conscious thing for all people, that all people make. You may not even think sometimes that anything about medicine in relation to yourself, but regardless of your thinking of that or not, you are a medicine in the world. And if you are not affecting your medicine the way that you want, then something else is utilizing your medicine. Something else is benefiting from that, or using up your energy. So it's very important for every person to center themselves, to get control of their own being, so that your energy is not misused, that it is going into the things that you want it to go into, that you are not going to be lending your energy to things that are negative, that you're going to have regrets about. Where, you know, that's so many times in this world that people have regrets. Knock on wood. Maybe you don't have any. I don't have any regrets. This would be because that every step of the way, every twist and turn in your life, that you have made the proper decision for yourself as to your own personal integrity, what you would lend your energy to, what you wouldn't, you know, what you would put your foot down and say, well, I wouldn't have nothing to do with this. If you don't do this in your life, then something else is going to be utilizing your energy, determining what's going to happen with it. So we give our thanks to our ancestors who carried the good mind, and we ask them to help us to return our mothers back to their natural seat of authority within all our nations, so they can manage all our people properly once again. This is not just a statement to make that this is what you hope for. This must be what you aspire for, meaning that whatever you identify in a Honda Gari Wadekwa, that this is what you do. This is what you physically make happen, that you affect into the world. So you have to be realistic with your Honda Gari Wadekwa. Let's say if you were in the middle of the desert and you were asking for, I don't know, icebergs or something. Well, you got to be realistic as to what you want your energy to be focused on. We can manifest things in the world, but then if we are focusing our energy on something that is futile, then it's just like an energy drain upon us. Almost like having a hole, like almost like what a hole would feel like in your heart. I don't know. I don't have that, knock on wood. You know, maybe somebody who has a heart murmur or something of this would be able to relate, where it is something that almost feeling like a black hole within you, sucking your energy. That if you do not get your own energy under control, yourself in control of yourself, then your power, your energy will be going to something else. And when we look around us all in this world, that we see all kind of crazy things happening, all insane things happening left and right, every day just about now. There's some crazy new thing that's happening, that's going on. We look at all these things, regardless of if they're in our own backyard or if they're on the other side of the world. We know that all of these things, if it's something on the other side of the world, we may feel a certain safety zone, like we moved from it. So, yeah, you know, we feel safe. Like, for instance, you know, maybe everybody woke up this morning and they heard about this bridge that was blown up in the Ukraine. I think it was linking Crimea. Anyways, everybody must have heard one way or another about this bridge that was blown up this morning. There was footage. Every news outlet on earth was showing this, sharing it. And anyways, it's just something that we look at. Well, it's on the other side of the world. It doesn't affect us, you know. But these things that are happening on the other side of the world, the crazy wars, the subhuman behavior, it's coming here. It's here all the time, you know, on an individual basis. The individuals going crazy in society, but the official action of an entire society when a government or a nation affects the society to be going in a certain way. Well, this is what's happening right now in the world, and the war, so-called war, or just the plain old insanity, is being affected here. If anybody caught, when was this? Today, this morning also, Biden. He came out, or was it yesterday? No, I don't know. When he came out and he said he's putting forward like as if Putin is upping the antes in the nuclear stakes in the war. But this is not true. It's an outright lie. Even within so-called United States, even though Biden made a statement, you think it's the president makes a statement that the whole government has to be on board with that statement. But immediately after he made this statement, his own generals within the Pentagon were refuting what he was saying, identifying that no, Putin hasn't escalated things to this level, that he hasn't made these threats, that it is an outright lie that the so-called president of the so-called United States is making. He's outright lying, putting this lie, this false belief in the minds of his people. What's the purpose for that? What's the purpose in hyping up people into thinking that, oh, they're getting closer to a nuclear war? What is the intent? Is this what he's saying here? Is it affecting the people in Russia? No, it's not. It's not affecting them. It's only affecting the people in the so-called United States. It's the equivalent of feeding gunpowder to a Rottweiler or a pit bull before you get them to go into a dogfight. You rile them up. You get them as crazy as you possibly can. And this is what the so-called president of the so-called United States has done in outright lying that Putin is taking the world closer to like a nuclear holocaust, nuclear war, when it's an outright lie. There is no truth to base that upon. And what really makes it crazy is that his Biden's generals comes out and disputes it, says no, it's not true. Now you got to think, what would happen if the so-called president makes a statement and then his underlings come along and dispute that statement? Well, they can't. If it's once it's an official whatever, they can't dispute that. They have to be on board with it. So there is something else that is happening here. This is either this Biden guy is just gone completely bananas, and that is just saying crazy stuff, and that the people beneath him are completely aware of this, and they're just allowing him to say it, but yet then they turn around and filter the truth out to the public. This creates for a schizophrenia within the system, the government itself. It's schizophrenic to the point of that this so-called president is saying one thing, getting us closer to a nuclear war, and the generals are saying another thing. What is the point in this? What is the theater that is being played out right now? What's the narrative? Is this a comedy? Is this a drama? Is it a horror? Is this a nightmare? What is it that's being played out right now in having this unfold before the public eyes in the world arena, where you have the so-called world leader of the free world saying a lie, an outright lie about someone that they're at war with, because the United States is at war with Russia. That's the fact. You cannot dispute that the actions that the so-called United States has taken is actions of war against Russia. And Russia is only taking the appropriate actions of the last 30 years, actually, from the time that Ronald Reagan, through his espionage, disrupted the USSR and broke up and annexed all what was USSR at the time. So this is what the agenda that so-called Russia is on. But for Biden to come out and to make outright lie like this is to place confusion into the world. Whose world is it placing confusion in? It's not, again, it's not placing confusion in Russia. It's not placing confusion in Europe, because even Europe, all of Europe is basically on board with what Russia is doing. You cannot say Europe is against what Russia is doing, because they are not doing nothing to counteract him. They are actually assisting the economy that Putin is creating. They're making their millions, their billions off of it. The US gives so much money to Crimea to say, oh, this is our assistance to you. Not Crimea, Ukraine, sorry. Gives tons of money to the Ukraine, saying that they're assisting them in the defense against Russia. But what is that money for? That money is only given to them to be spent on weapons from the so-called United States. So the United States is actually a bullshit liar to the world in putting these sanctions against Russia and making these statements against them, because they are profiting big time off of Putin's actions that all of Europe supports, that even so-called United States supports. Because if they didn't support it, given the fact, or given the track record of the history of what everybody knows of World War II, well, if the United States did not support what Putin was doing, then the United States themselves would be physically engaged in war. So everything is a big lie that's happening. It's a false narrative that's being played out in front of everybody. And well, the world has no choice but to just accept what's being rammed down their throats. But it's not reality. It is just more theater of the white European in prolonging their the inevitable. When you think, you take into consideration, all of Europe has created the so-called United Nations out of their war. And their so-called United Nations has put forward a warning to all the member nations of so-called United Nations, identifying of the year 2030, that they have until the year 2030 in which to reverse the environmental destruction that was already done to the earth as of 2017. So that isn't of today. So of the degradation that is there today, you might not even have, well, it's impossible. You can't have until 2030 now to correct or reverse the environmental degradation that is there today. Because when this statement, when the United Nations made this statement, it was in the year 2017. Now, since 2017, there has been absolutely no improvements in industry, and as far as the effects upon the environment of what the economy affects. There has been no changes in this. There has been no changes in any government on earth. There has been no addressal of this warning that the United Nations gave. There is absolutely no movement in that area. So from 2017, when they said you got until 2030 to reverse the environmental degradation that has already been caused, that means the next year, 2018, you don't have until 2030. You got, it will take you longer from 2018 to fix the degradation that's already done, but you got less time. So what's actually happening is more has to be done in less time. And as every year goes by, the amount that has to be done exponentializes. That is based on just what was present in 2017. Now, knowing that the environmental degradation increases each year, then this means that that gauge of the year 2030, that thing doesn't stay at a fixed rate, at a fixed place. It doesn't stay at 2030. As each year goes by that no action is taken, that deadline actually gets closer to us. So we are probably actually, I would say right now from where we're at, we're about three years away from the deadline. I would narrow it down to 2025, based on the what was just said. And as far as nothing being addressed, the degradation as of 2017, not staying the same, but increasing, tells us we got more to do in less time. Tells us that that the more that we see of this craziness in the world, of bridges getting blown up, of pipelines getting blown up, these are sabotages that are done to not just the region of right there, it's done to the entire world. Because this is the second sabotage that is seen now. Nobody can identify or say that this was Russia that blew up this bridge or whoever it was. They cannot identify who it was. It does not serve any purpose. And as far as what conventional warfare, as far as conventional warfare goes, it serves no purpose for Russia to do that. It serves no purpose for anyone to do that, except some private corporate interest. That's the only one that would prosper from something such as this. Think of this. Remember, after World War II, MacArthur stayed in Europe, stayed over there to affect the Marshall Plan upon Japan, the Philippines, everywhere, the Marshall Plan for the whole world. Now, the US went and bombed, destroyed everything, along with their partners. Their partners were Germany, Britain, Allied forces. All the partners went and destroyed the world. And what happened immediately after with their Marshall Plan? It's a way of renewing their dead economies. Once their economy is dead and they played it out to its limit, well, what are you going to do? You can't go, there's no more, no other fresh nations to go and exploit, to go and kill, to go and steal from. They've done this all around the earth now. There's no place left. So what do? Well, when you reach the end, you just start over. You start over from where you're standing. It was square one. You start destroying things there. Look at what happened with the pipeline 2 weeks ago. There is no other impetus behind this except sabotage for economic gain. No other impetus whatsoever behind this. And the same thing with the destruction of this bridge, just economic gain. So who's going to gain from this bridge? Who's going to rebuild this bridge? And they're going to say, well, now they got to tear down this other bridge. Well, you know what? This looks just like what happened in so-called New York, in that infamous day they call 9/11. Well, there it was peacetime, and they successfully, right in front of the entire world, made it look like it was war, made it look like terrorism, and demolishing the World Trade Center, the 2 buildings, and I think 7 buildings in all, something like that. Right in broad daylight, right in front of everybody, and there wasn't even a war. So just think of what's going on in Ukraine, Crimea, that part of the world right now. where there is so-called war, or you got the illusion of. So let's say if they needed a bridge to be replaced, well, take it out with a bomb that nobody knows who it's from. Well, somebody's got to replace that bridge. Somebody's going to be replacing the infrastructure. Somebody's going to be getting rich. Right now, somebody is getting rich because all of these things are insured. Who is getting rich off of the insurance? The British. That's who's getting rich off of it. Anyways, you look also in the world today, surprisingly, in this day also, one of the biggest yachts on earth, I think it is actually the biggest yacht on earth, belongs to a Russian billionaire. For some reason, they call them oligarchs, but they don't call Elon Musk an oligarch. They don't call, what's that guy's name? Gates. They don't call him an oligarch. Why not? What is the connotation? Connotation is that the proper word? What's implied by calling someone an oligarch? For some reason, it's looked down upon because it looks like everybody thinks in so-called Russia that it's they think right away old money oligarch. It's somehow associated with old money, that it's old so-called royal families, so automatically it's connected to some corruption. What you think of over here, Bill Gates, any billionaire here in the so-called United States, how are they not connected to corruption? No, these people are all thieves, stealing, all involved in war, causing deaths around the world. This is what billionaires do on a daily basis. Billionaires are killing people on a daily basis. Every billionaire on earth, on a daily basis, their money is going into destroying the environment, which means that there are people who's putting their lives on the line, which means these companies that need their profit at all costs, that they are killing innocent people who are protecting the environment, which means the true guilty parties, regardless of if it's some mercenary or whatever, doesn't matter. It's who's paying them for that. And it doesn't matter to say, well, it's this corporation that gets lost in you can't place blame. No, billionaires. And there's not that many billionaires in this world. You can place all the murders, assassinations around the earth that are associated with people protecting and defending the environment. You can place all of these murders and assassinations on all the billionaires collectively. It's all of them collectively that are killing the innocents, killing the people who are trying to protect and defend. So one of these billionaires, Russian billionaire, their yacht showed up today in Hong Kong. They said mysteriously, this is from a CNN headline post, this yacht mysteriously shows up in Hong Kong. Oh, wait a minute. This yacht was confiscated. It's subjected to sanctions by the so-called United States, by so-called European Union, by NATO. They put sanctions, as you know, on many Russian people connected to government, millionaires connected to Putin, and so on and so on. They've sanctioned. This particular yacht was seized, supposedly, already. So how did it end up in Hong Kong? Why is it there? Hey, who was in Hong Kong just 2 weeks ago? Putin was in Hong Kong. And then this yacht shows up in Hong Kong because it cannot be moored for the winter in any place like in Russia. It's got to be docked somewhere, seasonal. So it's in Hong Kong. Well, coincidentally, Putin was there just a couple of weeks ago. The so-called Western media was trying to play down Putin's gains, when the reality is that Putin if you can say there is a war, well, Putin is winning it. It's already won. So-called United States is just hot air, fart gas. That's all it is, blowing hot air. So you hear them saying sanctions, but let's look at the reality. Here's this gigantic yacht that's impossible not to know how this thing got to Hong Kong, because it's bigger than a football field. I think it's a football field and a half. This is the biggest yacht on earth. It's got the same type of hull as an aircraft carrier. So there's no way that so-called United States or Allied forces would not know that this yacht that was supposed to be seized, there's no way that they would not know that this ended up in Hong Kong. For them to say that it mysteriously ends up is a big sham. They're pulling the wool over your eyes. They're telling you that there's sanctions when there actually isn't. They're giving you this narrative to make themselves look good, when it's all a big lie. So this is the insanity that's going on in the world. Well, at this time, we are in a time of correction. So the distractions such as this are designed to keep the non-native society, the non-native population, distracted, to prevent you from knowing the truth, from standing for the truth, to keep you locked in the false narrative that everybody's been living in. So this shows us that right now that there is there's a shudder to this monster. It's shuddering like this. There's a premonition. Right now, this is a premonition that we're seeing, that it's gonna either implode or explode, one of the two. It's on a one-way trip now, that it's not gonna be able to level off. It's not gonna be able to cover its tracks. Now it's won't be able to hide the truth from the people now. It's too much stuff is coming out into the public awareness. So stuff like this that's happening worldwide is a distraction to the European in absolutely everything that you are doing. What you are supposed to be focused on in correction time is your ultimate corruptions. And the ultimate corruptions of the white European is here, Turtle Island, what you call, or what the European knows as so-called North and South America. That this is what the Europeans must focus on correcting. 500 years of lies, 500 years of thievery, of rape, of murder, of corruption from head to toe. This is the non-native society. And the worldwide correction means that you are to be working to correct, to undo those things. But when you are distracted by more, the false narrative of war, then this will take you away from correcting. And if you are not engaged in correcting, then you are still engaged in colonization. Colonization is war. And that's what you see playing out right now. It's not the say the full focus. The full focus right now is of the colonization here that we've known for the past 500 years is it's kind of been shifting gears right now. Like if you got a standard and you shift, you're going, it's that place in between where you're going, right there, that silence, until you shift. This is the place where we're at right now. It's a temporary moment of flux of where you don't feel a physical threat, but it's there. It's like it's placed out of your mind. It's almost like when adrenaline kicks in. Yeah, just like that. It kind of cancels out the severity of things, the insanity of things, so that you can cope. so that you can survive. So this is all the distractions in the world, such as this bridge blowing up today, these other things. It's to keep you away from focusing on correcting the 500-year corruption here. And this is something that we just seen this week, that this is some people that we know, that we are connected to, non-native people who have been on this path of correcting for the last couple of years, that all of a sudden they've run into a dead end because of the distractions that they allow, or what they allow to distract themselves. And so when this happens, then this means that the European people, the non-native people, will not be engaged. You won't be engaged in the only thing that legitimizes your existence. Because your existence, up until now, thieving, raping, and murdering, there's nothing to legitimize that, nothing to substantiate that. And when you get to a certain point of this is what you are, this is what you've done, then this is what you're confronted with in your next step. What is the next step that a thieving, raping, murdering society does, that a thieving, raping, murdering society takes when they've reached their limit, when there's no one else to kill, no one else to steal from, no one else to murder or rape? What do you do from that point? Well, this is where the non-native, the European, amps up their colonization, and as you know, is taking this to our grandmother moon, taking it to outer space, the colonization of space. This is a economic assault on our entire solar cell. At this point right now, it's just colonization of Grandma Moon and of the immediate doorstep into space, just around Earth. And right now we look at, well, what does colonization look like of our doorstep? Well, it looks like, I forget the amount, I think it's like over 30,000 satellites orbiting Mother Earth, man-made satellites that are littering the night sky, that are actually tricking us, that we think these things are stars, or that it's part of the nighttime sky, when they are not. That these are false things. These are false man-made things that are all around the outer atmosphere of our planet, colonizing. We are already colonizing. So what will colonization look like 100 years from now of space? Well, if we see right now that there's about 30,000, I might be wrong on this, well, I probably am wrong, but anybody can look up the amount of satellites, man-made satellites, and you know that there's tens of thousands of them. So if this is the way that it is right now, and this is affecting our ability to see out proper, because we're not seeing the constellations proper no more. This is the reason why, and they tell you that, well, Hubble and James Webb is because, oh, it's better, what's the word here? Nothing blocking, like the atmosphere isn't in the way, the Earth's atmosphere. Well, the Earth's atmosphere isn't in the way. What's in the way is all of those false man-made satellites that they placed up, that any telescope on Earth now is affected by, that they cannot see beyond these things. No, you can still see out, but it's now affected to the point of where scientists or astronomers are even questioning or doubting the images that they themselves are seeing, are identifying that this could be, that this is space junk, basically. So if it's this way right now, what will it look like 100 years from now? Will that be a solid barrier just beyond our Mother Earth and into space? And when we're looking at what we're doing to our Mother Earth and to the atmosphere, will that solid barrier be somehow justified by science to continue to create that, to try to have some type of artificial atmosphere, to try to save the atmosphere of Mother Earth? We are on a crazy one-way dead-end street here in the colonization process. And the whole colonization process has never stopped. It's an ongoing process for the last 500 years, actually thousands in the non-native world, going around colonizing. Now, at this stage, when we consider, again, a warning by the so-called United Nations of the year 2030 and colonization of Grandma Moon, of outer space, is at our doorstep now, that it's happening, that all of this is just one insanity on top of the other. That if the European does not focus on making correction, then one thing after another will just slip on by you. And if it slips on by you, then it's not me that's got to correct these things. It's you that's got to correct them. But if you slip on by and they don't get corrected, then what happens in the larger body? We're pushing the limits, testing it like we know that, almost like we're astronauts. And we know that we're working on a limited oxygen supply. And we're pushing and pushing and pushing. And we're just keep playing and playing. And we're wasting our time on nonsense while we're running out of oxygen. And this is the fact here on our Mother Earth, that we are running out of oxygen. This is pushed to the limit. Every function of our Mother Earth is pushed to the limit through the insanities of war, of what the non-native economy is. Every living system of our Mother Earth is pushed to the limit, stretched. If there is, let's say, within our body, let's say there's 100 strands that of our living systems that are necessary to keep us alive. And these things are being cut away one after another. We will get to the point of where eventually, well, there won't be anything left to the living system. We know that all the waters are destroyed. Again, it was in the summer sometime when science identified that now there's nowhere on Earth that anyone can drink rainwater, that all the water now was poisoned on Earth, that there was microplastics in absolutely everything. So you could be on the top of Mount Everest and take snow and melt it and think you're going to drink it and you're going to have good fresh water. No, you're not. You're going to have plastic. You can go to the bottom of the ocean and in the middle of all that water, you're going to have plastic. You go into the upper levels of our Mother Earth's atmosphere where you think there's nothing there, and you're going to find plastic, microbial plastic, not microbial, microscopic plastic, microbial. So right now we are at a precipice. We're at this point on the scale where you're standing right in the middle, and that slightest movement in either direction will tilt the scale, tip it. Now it's a matter of choice as to which way that you want to tip the scale. Which way do you want it to go? So if you are not actively engaged in a correction, then you are not deciding which way you want this thing to go. So you are then just a pawn. You're a pawn being used. And right now at this stage, who are the ones using you in colonization? Well, you consider colonization back in 1491, you knew who was using you in colonization. Well, it's still all those same players, but now you have new ones, billionaires who are captains of industry within the pirate fleet of Britain, this colonizing force going around the world. So these billionaires are your basically like your have your allegiance, because these billionaires are the ones that are behind the so-called pandemic and guaranteed that they can make bazillions of dollars off of absolutely every person on earth through inflicting them with these vaccines. Now, imagine how stupid, how utterly stupid you got to be. That in the past, you take a vaccine. Okay, that vaccine, you're set for life. Here, you take a vaccine to take a vaccine to take a vaccine to prepare you for getting your vaccine. And that's so that you can get your next vaccine. This is the insanity of what people are stuck into and not realizing that these are your pirate captains that have you locked into this. These are these billionaires that have been given this special status to be able to bleed you dry because they have control over the World Health Organization. That all they got to do is push the buttons on a World Health Organization, which is hold back some of their bazillions. And well, the World Health Organization will say, yeah, okay, well, yes, there's a pandemic. And yes, you got to have these vaccines. And yes, you got to have 10 vaccines. Like, when would you ever have heard in the past that a vaccine, you had to take it 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times? Where did you ever hear of this? That's not a vaccine. You're crazy if you're taking that. You're utterly insane, because if you got to take a vaccine every couple of months, then you're not taking a vaccine. You're just taking a drug that's an experiment. You're an experimental pincushion, getting jabbed all the time to see what the hell happens to you. Anyways, okay, the corrections have to be focused on. You have to be attentive to making these corrections. If not, you will not be in the transition that is happening. So again, we have seen some of our friends in these past couple of weeks run into some problems in this area. Non-native people, Europeans, having problems. And what I identified is that when the Europeans came into this, it was impossible for the Europeans to know what was going on, who was in charge, what was really happening to them, because you had so many different interests that were controlling. You had priests, you had different orders of the church, you had different religions, you had different sectors of so-called government, in order to have you so sliced and diced, so spread out that this person over here wouldn't know the corruption over here, this person wouldn't know the corruption over there. And that's the corruptions of democracy, that you can all be in a corruption together without ever detecting it. Or at least anybody with a half a brain could detect these things. Only the people who are brainless, who are following like sheep, you will not be able to detect anything. You will not be able to see these huge transitions happening to let you know that you got to start your correction. And if you're not, then, because correction is like weeding out. It's like whatever was the natural thing in the garden, the genocidal process was to either to remove it or to place weeds all around it so that it would suffocate the natural thing, that it would kill it. So all the weeds are all the white people that were placed all around the native people with hopes of suffocating us, hopes of taking away our air, with hopes of that we would just disappear. But the fact that we are here identifies that this time of the past 500 years, all of this, the weeding out is the correcting, meaning you go and take those weeds away that you placed there to kill what was there naturally. You go and remove the poisons that you place there to kill what was there naturally. So this is what the non-natives have to be engaged in. And if you are not, then you are just not nothing. You are just a part of the continued part of the problem. So big moves, big changes happening in the world. Everybody's got to be aware of it. You got to be making these changes happen. We are affecting these things also. And as some of you may know, we were supposed to talk about this last week, but our actions or our efforts to protect Grandma Moon, that we have to increase this, that this is our agenda this year, is to push the moon teachings out to the world as much as possible, to get the information to everybody, to young people, about the colonization of space in Grandma Moon and what's going to happen to her, the certain destruction that will take place. So for this, some of you may know, we talked about this, I think, the other night, and it's just to talk about it again, to keep this fresh in our minds, that we are going to push to go into every school to get this agenda into the hearts and minds of the young people, of school-age children, that they're to teach them about what colonization means and what colonization would do to our grandmother moon. There is no equal voice being heard in the assault, in the colonial assault upon Grandma Moon in space. There is no voice out there of reason speaking against it, and speaking in favor of logic and common sense. And so this is obviously left to us. No one else on earth is doing it, so we will have to do it. And what we identified is that we will create a program to go into the schools to start Moon Team Alpha, to start young children in the schools, to get them aware and to make them part of Moon Team Alpha, a force to protect Mother Earth by protecting Grandma Moon. So we will get young school-age children around the world involved in this. We'll get adults around involved in this. We'll make them a part of this team, where the young people will feel that they are a part of something that is important, something that is doing something on the largest scale to protect and to heal Mother Earth, to heal the destructions that man is doing. So this is the agenda this year. This is the intent. We are, for this to affect this, we're looking at approaching other schools, approaching other community centers, whatever different groups, on whatever scale. If we can go to them live to do a moon teachings or talk to them about this, or if it's a Zoom, it doesn't really matter. So this means that all of us can work in wherever we are to affect this. So take, for instance, if Grace or Harold, who on the other side of the country in the so-called states, that they can push for a school in their community to have, we can do a Zoom session with them to come and to share these teachings about Grandma Moon and to make them a part of Moon Team Alpha, protecting Grandma Moon. So this is what the agenda is. To be able to do that is another thing. It takes a lot of money. If we are going to go to schools, well, unless they're going to pay us, you know, which it's not happening on that scale enough to get this information out there. So we're going to have to raise the funds to enable us to go out there and to do this. So what we're looking for is funding. Now, ultimately, it should be the so-called Canadian government, so-called American government funding us as Native people to be the voice of reason, to go out and to present the equal opposite side of the coin into as far as space colonization and moon colonization goes. So this is what we're pushing, what we're working on. In the coming weeks, we're going to be spread out. We're going to different parts. Many of us are spreading out. And in wherever we're going, in our efforts, we are going to be in those areas looking to expand this agenda. So if you are going on the state side, or if you're wherever, and maybe you're in Manitoba, Winnipeg, maybe you're in Edmonton, you can work to establish moon teachings in your local school, or even with just a group, to do a live Zoom, and yeah, and we begin to put the information out like this. So as far as that goes, then there was a meeting that we went to. We shared this. I forget when now. I think Wednesday night.
Yeah.
That we went to the Cosmodome here in Laval. And we went to break the ice, to have a meeting with them, see about doing the moon teachings there. And we had talked about that we should do this, or present them with a proposal for the full moon, and send the same proposal to our friend Lori.
Neptune.
Lipton or Lipton?
Neptune.
Neptune. Neptune?
I think like the planet, I think so.
To invite her also, as she is astrophysicist, for the purposes of having comparative science, that when we are talking about Grandma Moon beating heart of Mother Earth, we use science, non-native science, to substantiate this. And if she was present, then she'd be able to say, no, that's not true. We wouldn't have her there to say, yes, that's true, because she's going to be saying that all the way through. Really just to be there to point out what is wrong in what we would be presenting. She won't have anything to point out. But the fact is to have this comparatively addressed through someone in the non-native world, well, in non-native science, which Lori Lipton is, astrophysicist, but she is also an Innu woman. So this gives a unique perspective and a unique opportunity for us to combine forces to protect and to heal our Mother Earth. So this is all of the agenda. This is what we know we're working on. So anybody, again, can work in these areas, make the contacts. Maybe you're going to write a letter, a proposal. If you do, before you finalize your letter or your document, whatever, send it to us so that we can look at it and sign off on it. Because if it's something that clashes with, with the teachings or whatever. So everybody knows this is something that we can all work on in our own personal areas. Okay, all of that being said, I really don't have anything else to say tonight. Unless there's something anybody's got, any questions or any issue anyone wants to bring up. If not, we'll call it a night for tonight.
Kelly is raising her hand.
Okay, then let's go to Kelly.
Hi, everybody. I miss you. Haven't seen you for a long time. And the only reason I haven't come is because we are having Indian summer here. So I have been going straight out to the lake on the bus and hanging there. But I'm so glad that you're saying this, Stuart, because I did that moon poster, and I've been going, even when I was with you guys, it was going over my head all the time, trying to figure out some kind of protect Mother Earth's, like some kind of saying that would totally, young children from grade, kindergarten to grade 5, 6 would, 7 would really want to like check it out, because I already made copies of your moon teaching poster. So if I could have the fun poster that could actually go up in schools and saying, that would draw children into going, what, save our mother, Grandma Moon, what's that? Who's Grandma Moon? Why we got to save her? And then having your poster on file with even my storytelling proposals and that, to bring them together, so then right away they can get connected to you guys to do the official moon teaching. And then what's the other one I'm going to forget here? This is what I keep wanting to say all day. I think I want to say this to you, that to you, and I just keep forgetting by the time it comes time to
Okay,
talk.
well, while you're here, poster, what poster are you talking about? Were we supposed to create a poster? or do we have
She
one?
had offered for a while, Kelly, that she wanted to create a poster to promote the teachings.
Okay. Yeah, but she just said her poster and then our poster
Oh,
Yeah,
because we made one like long time ago, remember? Like
of a moon teachings?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, we made a lot of posters, yeah. So.
Well, it's the one where it gets all your address that the school can, it's got all your information on it, and it's the background is students that you did a teaching with, and then so that one at least it has all your information on how to connect to you guys. And then my thing is just to have a really cool poster that could be, that's got a message that would draw the kids into, and then that would, and then that I could even use that where I just post the time and place too for kids to be aware that like you're going to do a Zoom meeting for a school. So that's going to be my goal, is to connect all the schools to you guys, and then just use that moon poster as a visual for the children too.
Okay, well,
But I just need help. Sorry, I just need help. Like what exactly? What I'll do is I'll write it down and I'll send to you guys all the examples of what I'm trying to think to say. And then hoping that you can really up my game on that, to tell you the truth. Like usually I can really think creatively of how to say this and that, but this one I'm sort of being a little bit stuck on.
well, this is why we said, I think we said this Wednesday, that we need to get, what?
I think that's.
Yeah, a think tank, like just put out, if you got one line, something, just a line that you think would fit somewhere in this, type it in this, email, whatever, that we can all look at, and through this process, we'll get to the perfect, the perfect wording. Together we'll be able to put just the words that will attract, that will pull that person in, and together we'll push out the words that will turn people off or whatever. So let's get that going. We'll look at the different posters that we got. There was a bunch of them that we made for different moon teaching, so we'll look at the different ones, and maybe we'll post them in somewhere, something. Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna paint, I got the picture, one picture is really a really basic plain one, because you can put things over top of it. But I'm gonna take that image and I'm gonna actually expand it so that it becomes a moon really small, and then I want to have so that children can be like sort of animated characters, of children can be in the image, like 3 of them with the turtle, bear, and wolf symbol maybe on their jacket or something. And then those kids maybe have little bubbles where they're making a statement to their peers as well.
Mhm. Okay, well, yes, no matter what, anyways, we got to get the creative juices flowing here. And, like when we're not working for somebody, like it's not a job, it's hard to get started, like there's no boss to say, do this or do that. Well, we all just got to be our own motivation. Yeah, this is where we got to look within ourselves and find that motivational energy. It's just like when people say, oh, I'm gonna exercise this week, or at New Year's they'll say, yeah, this year I'm gonna exercise. Well, we got to be that drive. We got to get that fire burning inside that's gonna push us to do these things. When we consider that, well, who's it for? It's not for me. It's for Grandma Moon. It's for everything. It's for the entire body. So this is something that absolutely everyone on earth should be spearheading. So yeah, let's just get our creative juices flowing on this. So let's say anybody, you got just an image in your head, like a cartoon image. Jot it down. And if you're not a drawer, then just write down what the image is, like write down the idea. While I'm saying this, while you were saying this about getting the kids with what'd you say, a bubble, like what?
A little bubble, like like in cartoons, they'll have the
Yeah.
bubble with the message.
While you were saying this, I was thinking of that. Oh, you know what? When we go on tour to these different schools, we get a moon outfit. Somebody dress up as the moon. Or maybe like these I don't know what you call them, cutouts or something. You just cut a hole in the center there, and you put the person's face there, and they get a picture with Grandma Moon type of thing, But
Yeah.
but something that's like a real model of the moon. That maybe we
Well,
go
that
to
just
the
leaves-
schools, and while we're in the school, we have a contest, and somebody in that school or in that grade class level wins the contest, and they're the person who maybe gets the picture. They get to put on the moon costume to be the moon. Stuff, whatever, stuff like this that
Yeah.
would make children or young people that would make them feel rewarded, especially.
I would say, thinking collectively and being a twin, knowing every kid wants to be counted in, I would say figure out how to build a moon costume where the kids actually go into the circle, and then then you have it, and they can actually, because like you can roll around in those balls, right? So maybe those balls, you just paint one, figure out how you paint one that's the of the moon, and then kids could be like inside, like I don't know how you do, you've seen them where they go and they fight two in those circles, but instead you somehow it's painted like a moon, and then they get their pictures rolling, or who knows, right? Having some fun, because that's the fun and interaction with youth, is that just remember, us as kids, we'll walk away, we'll be dreaming for days and
Yeah.
thinking, wondering.
Yeah, when maybe we could even, I know these inflatables that you're talking about. Maybe we could even get like a model of the solar system, all of the planets, and to have I don't know, a lot of possibilities here. It's just a matter of, like we said, getting those creative juices flowing.
Well, I got a little bit of a small resource. I've already designed, years ago, I created but it's very small, like a hanging solar system, our system, and all, so that it's all like in the right size proportion to each other. So when I get that out of storage, I'll definitely make copies of that for you guys. I don't know, because if you're going to do the school, there's so much resources that I can almost double for you and build hopefully on, and just be someone to build those resources as well. How to figure out how to do it all.
Okay, well, there's anybody else got anything to say on this? If not, everybody knows what the agenda is, what we're working on. If not, we're just going to close up for tonight.
I just want to say hello to everyone. Okay, Celine and Ann, I see you girls are still together. I just love you all. I thought I'd be a lot more sad when I see you and I'm not around you, but I'm sort of happy too.
What a time, man. What a experience it's been. Something like this, you think of, imagine when the entire society is engaged in an action like that. That is euphoric. That is something that the non-native would refer to as utopian. Because soon as people come out of that, the love, the happiness, the peace, the knowledge of how to do all of that, it's there, it's fresh. People are automatically just being nicer, being better to each other. Imagine every 5 years, the entire society doing that. That's beauty.
I have to say it was really hard in places. I'm still downloading, but even as I'm downloading, deeper wisdom's coming to me. I really have to take the time to watch it all over, because it was a very, I even went and looked up on the left-right brain, how the neuroscience of the brain works with language and sound. And because I found that I had to just get grounded to Mother Earth and get my creative side. It's like, I was like out of balance, but it wasn't. It's just, I've just been learning how the words go in the left ear, but they connect right to the right brain right away, but it's still the left brain that is actually processing or understanding the words. Well, as the music is all in the right brain. And so I could see how I was having to ground and heal and process. I mean, the other day I just went, even with myself, I was walking to the lake, I did a whole list of everything actually what I'm in the process of doing with myself. And but it's, I think even just like tonight, as I'm thinking of it, I'm really in a download process.
Yeah, I'm still,
Amazing.
still tired from it. You know,
Yeah,
we're
me
still,
too.
still recovering.
But and then I have all these sense of humor times with myself. I'm walking going, okay, you know, today I said Elsa's catnip nap time, you know, like it's like 12 o'clock or something, like midnight is her, because every time we go, after we go and I don't know, I had so much fun. It was such a yin yang, and it was just an amazing time.
Yeah, well, here we're, like I said, we're still just coming out of it, because still just this week is really, everybody's gone now. It's just the last couple of days that people who were here for the last moon and a half, almost 2 moons now. You know, it was people here for that big chunk of time. So that was quite the experience. That is always something to take part in, a law recital. That is evolution. That's where you can see like being at the front of at the very edge of DNA, you know, as it's just building, drifting out into the universe, and you can see everything from there, from law recital. Anyways, okay, if there's nobody else that's got anything to say there, then we're gonna call it a night. Okay, tomorrow we got Sunday reconstitution. That's at 1 o'clock. We're supposed to be joined by somebody tomorrow?
Samuel, a friend of Roger that is in tour in Washington, he's gonna join us again.
And tomorrow, it's gonna be a special Zoom tomorrow. There's a special message that's going out. A runner is being dispatched, and we're gonna do that live on the join the Zoom to exemplify, to show the world as to how the runner system, as we all learned through the law, how the runner system is to be implemented, utilized by the people. So tomorrow, very important message going out. Some of you may know already. You may have a clue as to what this message is, where it's going to, who's bringing it. But if you don't, we're not going to tell you tonight. You're going to have to be there tomorrow and see and witness what it is. Okay, so that being said, then the only thing is to close. Hey, what happened with this? You never even got it. You were outside. Okay. We're still kind of swimming also. We swam 2 days ago. No, wait, I swam yesterday. What's today?
No, other day before.
Friday. I swam yesterday. I jumped in. I've been trying to jump in each day, every day, as much as I can, you know, like to expose myself to the cold. I try to do that in the springtime, swim as early as I can, In the fall time, I'll keep swimming as late as I can, try to stay out. Try to keep my body as much as possible accustomed to the cold. Prepare that way. Okay, so, well, Ana gadi wahi ka jokwa, so what I'm seeing is nyari. Years ago, we always out on hodo. This, I don't know what to refer to this as. Gazahaya. Ayoki at again, yet is out the gun on there on the headstone. I'm gonna go read that the hour way. Dam dawi around headstone, does it stasser and asset niga tardigan neganyaga haga than a gwego on a go to go on a rasa go on a scana. Ori wheel, Garigo, Ori Shunsa, on a cause that's not the Tom Dowie on headstone and Ori wheel, Garigo, Ori Shunsa, Donna Gaza Stasera. Tom Dowie, I don't headsera. So yerda. Nee, kon doen headsera goes. Ja, dogatena na hodde je tax. Air the solid, air the solid, air the solid. Kenya hesitates in Ejoino. All right. So as we see, we don't have to spend hours. We could come and address whatever we got to address, and it could be done in a half an hour. But it depends on how in depth we go, what the subjects are. This way, we are streamlining our business that we have to do together. So this is very good. Everybody gets the night off now. All right, now we'll go, everybody. See you later. Don't see each other.